Voila!
Are you going to talk about brain-computer interfaces?
Heck no, I'm going to talk about giant squid axons.
Giant squid axons?
Giant squid
Okay.
axons.
That's not new, that's old.
Uh, I mean, technically, yes. So this is something I found on Twitter, which, well, that's where I waste all my time. Um, if you ever wondered what the squid giant axon looks like, here it is. It can be up to half a millimeter in diameter. So, do you want to talk to us? Do you want to talk us through why this is cool and important, Josje?
Uh, yes, I can. So the giant squid. I can't see the picture now. Actually, I'm very sad. I need to see this
Wait,
picture.
okay.
But
Let me put it back. What? Okay, yeah.
uh, yeah. So I have a problem. I can't actually see what you're showing on your screen at the moment.
Well,
It doesn't matter.
imagine a beautiful axon.
It's a beautiful accent. Yeah, and apparently I never knew if this giant was if it referred to the squid or to the axon actually, because apparently the axon is supposed to be large or relatively large at
It
least.
is massive. This is half a millimeter for one axon. That's like, what, 1,000 times
Oh,
bigger than
it's not.
a regular axon?
But is the squid also massive, or is it just the axon? Because the point of the axon is that it was very long, right?
No,
So
no, no.
it
The
has a
point is that it's
huge.
very big. So,
Yeah, no, but no, but it's very long, and so it has a large
yes,
diameter.
yes. Well,
Uh,
yes and
also.
no. So that's the interesting part about it. So the giant squid axon refers to the giant axon of regular squids. So we're not dissecting giant squids.
So it's not a giant squid. I
It's not a
always
giant
imagined
squid.
also a giant squid.
I thought so, but no. Somebody corrected me. I think that is why this person here on Twitter actually called it the squid giant axon.
Yes, that is actually
This
good.
is a Bernardo Pinto who is very very intelligent in that regard. Well done, Bernardo. Um, so yeah, the giant squid axon, sorry, the squid giant axon is very cool because you're right, it is quite long, but it's mostly very thick, and the reason has to do with speed because this is the
Yeah.
axon that the squid uses to escape from
Oh
predators.
yeah, it has to be very fast. It's a reflex axon.
Right, so it has to be very
Yeah.
fast, and um, so basically, the bigger your axon, the faster a signal can go through it. And this is kind of taking that to the extreme. With like you can literally see these by hand, like a single axon. You can just poke a wire in. That's how they discovered the action potential. They literally took the squid giant axon, stuck a wire in, and boom. Which doesn't work with any other axons because they're like half a micron. But it works with this one because it's like 1,000 times bigger. The
That's
reason
huge.
why not more animals have these big axons is because we have a thing called myelin, basically electrical insulating material, that, well, fat really, that you wrap around an axon, and that makes it so your electrical signal can jump from nodes on your axon very fast, very quickly, and you don't have to muck about with all this, making your axon enormous.
It must be hard to maintain, right? With energy consumption and trying to balance the ions in a huge axon. Right. This is probably for the body. It's better to have the myelinated axon. Or
I don't really know.
I'm not
That's a
sure.
very good point.
That must be the reason.
Because usually like pretty much any membrane is a little bit leaky. So even when it's not in use, you will have to expend a little bit of energy to maintain the chemical gradient inside and outside the cell. Like, you don't want stuff to just flow one side to the other. So you need to keep pumping ions out. That takes energy. I don't really know if that is more energy than if you just have a thin axon, but you have to feed a lot of astrocytes or what are they? No, in the peripheral nervous system. They're called something else, right? Schwann cells?
Yes.
I'm going to say
Yes.
Schwann. Yes.
It's fun.
Professional PhD in
I wasn't
neuroscience.
sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, those Schwann cells, they're not free either. Like, they're cells. You have to
That's
feed them
true.
as well. So I don't know
Yeah.
what the energy balance is of this. That's actually a
Yeah.
pretty good question. I don't know.
Yeah. Could be.
If anyone does, hit us up.
Yeah. Yeah. Wait. You didn't name drop Hodgkin and Huxley yet.
Well,
Um,
everyone should know who Hodgkin and Huxley are.
everyone should know. I thought we were here to tell people things about giant axons.
Not me. I just want to show pretty photos.
It was in the 50s, right, that they published about the action potential. I don't remember the exact year. I think it was after the war.
No, oh, that's actually a
Huh?
really cool story. Sorry. It was done before the war.
Before the
If
war.
you
No, but
read if you read the paper, no. So
how the experiments were done before,
the
and they just
experiments
paused
were
for the
done
war.
before the war, but Hodgkin and Huxley, they're really good with electricity and amplifiers and all that stuff. So I don't remember which one of them, either Hodgkin or Huxley, got recruited into the army as a signal operator, whatever, worked on the radar, I think, during the war. But they did all the experiments before the war. Then the war broke out, and they worked on a manuscript kind of during that. And then they published, I think, their big seminal paper in, I'm gonna say, 1946. Um, let me drop the link to a bit of neuroscience history. So
I thought it was a little bit later, but maybe I read the second paper where they. I also don't know if they published in one or two papers.
they had a couple. They had a couple of papers. I mean, of
Yeah.
course, they were extremely prolific scientists at that time. Also responsible for that whole conductance-based computational model of neurons. So that's another thing that we have for Hodgkin and Huxley. I'm not sure if
So
they're like the first ones, but again, the Second World War, it's like computers were just becoming a thing. So most of this was just pen and paper, but working it out, doing the quadratic equations, and yeah, coming up with how ion channels work. It's fascinating. Um, Cable equation, all that stuff. They kind of figured out that, hey, we have this equation to describe an electrical signal in telegraph cables. So we're going to use that same equation and we put it into our model of an axon, and we see, okay, the bigger the axon, the better. So that's why the squid has such a giant axon. So yeah, very cool bit of neuroscience history, and I didn't really think anyone was still looking into them, but yeah, there you go. Somebody still looking at squid giant axons. I do believe the marine biology laboratory is in Cold Spring Harbor has, well, they do something with marine life. I think they may also have axon squids, but I'm not quite